And there's always... All right. So recordings happening, and maybe we're going on to Facebook too, just now. Let's see. And I'll turn on Facebook so we can see who's there. All right. So, dear devotees, Shantimoy and Aparajita Devi Dasi, we're happy to have you both joining us. Hare Krishna. And here in Srila Gurudev's room is Kumkum Devi Dasi. So we are seated here. And we're seated here with you all. And, okay, I think we're underway. Just you keep your eyes open, Leela Moy Prabhu, for the devotees who are coming to the waiting room. All right, so dear devotees, from this side of the world, it's good morning. In Australia, it's good afternoon or even good evening. And wherever we may be, I think otherwise mostly it is more or less morning time. Yes, in Bangkok and Ukraine. Hare Krishna. And Vrishabhanavi, Prabhu, not sure which country you're in, but welcome to you. So we are being recorded, so welcome to everyone in the recorded version, as well as who's already here with us on Zoom and on Facebook. So as we do, we'll start with an auspicious invocation in the form of those 4 verses as a brief vandanam. So with the microphones off, in the Kirtan guide, in the Kirtan guide it's page 9 and then jumps a few pages. But here we are. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapara Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vitakan Vitanscha Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tuje Namaha Hare Krishna. Oh, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So yes, welcome to you all. And Vrishabhanavi Prabhu is mentioning it's evening for me with a smile. So yes, all over the world, somewhere the sun is rising, somewhere the sun is setting, and somewhere the sun has not yet risen. So that's where we are. And Paramananda Prabhu is sitting so still, I'm wondering if that is a thumbnail. No, it's a moving thumbnail, small picture, but Paramananda Prabhu is with us. And everybody's landing, coming back down to earth after the pilgrimage to the holy places, holy deities with holy people in India, supposedly in India, at least, geographically, we had to catch aeroplanes, etc., to get to the holy places in India. So we're all facing reality, the reality of the material world. And Rupanuga Prabhu, he went back earlier, he was there for most of the program, but in order to attend to his dying mother, the mother of your children, isn't it? Your dying ex-wife. So we get this reality, the reality check comes in about the world of birth and death, which is surrounding us here. But our very good opportunity in this world is that we get the association of sincere seekers of the Lord and the association of the sincere guides to guide the sincere seekers. And so in this association, means of the devotees and of Guru, the spiritual guide, then we have a very great fortune in this world. And Kumkum Devi Dasi is here, and she's come wanting to share something with you all, and it is something which actually was a theme that I was thinking that if there are no questions, then not exactly the theme, but a similar theme to what has been, by coincidence, given in the Chaitanya Caritamrita that we've been reading, and in the subjective evolution that we've been reading, and perhaps somewhere, Golden Volcano of Divine Love, which I am reading again, separately, if you like, in my spare time, going through steadily that. And there is a wonderful theme, and I mean, that's consistently coming up just at the moment. But Kumkum Devi Dasi is going to begin, and she's going to share something about humility, one of the very basics of bhakti. So I'll move this little nearer to you, perhaps.
My dandavat to all of the devotees, and to you, Maharaj, and to the Vaishnavas and our gurus, and Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I was struck as we were reading in Chaitanya Caritamrta just a couple of days ago. We were ending on the 7th chapter, and the explanation by Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj Goswami of how he came to believe he was completely inspired that he must write Chaitanya Caritamrta, although as we know, he always expresses that in every chapter how he doesn't feel qualified. But here he shows us exactly what he is thinking, and he's trying to accept the blessings of Srila Vrindavandas Thakur. And do I have no, this is it, chapter 7. Yes. And he says he's describing Mahaprabhu's travels, and he says
you'll be looking more.
Okay. Text 168 and text 167. Thus the Lord went to the southernmost tip of the Indian peninsula known as Setabandhu, or we call Cape Comorin. Everywhere he distributed the bhakti cult and love of Krishna, and in this way he delivered everyone. Thus, I have explained the truth of the Panchatattva. One who hears this explanation increases in knowledge of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While chanting the Panchatattva Mahamantra, one must chant the names of Sri Chaitanya, Nityananda Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas with their many devotees. This is the process. I again and again offer obeisances unto the Panchatattva. Thus, I think that I will be able to describe something about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I was struck with great appreciation for how the Vaishnavas are not just saying some words about humility, but revealing their heart, that they honestly feel that they're completely dependent on blessings from above to be able to reveal something about the Panchatattva, about Mahaprabhu's reaching down to assist us. And it reminds me of Srila Gurudev, a personal experience that I had when there was someone who he was trying so much to help. And we had been discussing for at least 2 years, and he was not seeing how he could help, or he was revealing that he didn't know if he could help or not. And in his humility, he quoted the final verse of Sri Siksastakam, Alisya va padaratam pinastumam adarshanan marmahatam karotu va yata tatava vidadatu lampato mat prananatas tu sava eva naparaha. And Krishna is saying there, Mahaprabhu is saying, Krishna may embrace me in love or trample me under his feet. He may break my heart by hiding himself from me. Let that debauchee do whatever he likes, but he will always be the only Lord of my life. And to hear this applied for such a reason, we may think of this if we don't get something that we want, but his complete unselfishness in what he was lamenting that he might not get was what struck me. And, for myself, I have to say that I want this, I want that. But what Srila Gurudev wants, he was personally revealing how he wants to uplift everyone. And if he can't see exactly how to do this, or if it's not coming easily, then this is how he turns to the Lord. You can give me this or not, but you are still my Lord. You may reveal to me or not reveal to me, but you are my Lord unconditionally. But this was his fervent prayer to help another person. Oh.
Right. And this is Srila Gurudev, this is Srila Guru Maharaj, this is Srila Prabhupada, all of them. They're wanting to help others, but with all humility, not out of pride that I'm going to be a great teacher, obviously. And Seva Rupa, she's given us that 8th verse that Kumkum Devi Dasi was quoting just now. She's giving us there in the chat box. Hare Krishna. And so I didn't know what Kumkum Devi Dasi was going to be quoting, but where Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj is expressing how he came to write Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, in that section, then there's this great humility, but also great honor for the Vaishnavas. And he's listing the qualities of senior Vaishnavas, and starting with Haridas Pandit in Vrindavan, who was the guru of who became Ganga Mata Goswamini, Ganga Mata Goswamini, who he sent over to Jagannath Puri to look after Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, which some of us were able to go to very recently, and just beside Shveta Ganga. And anyway, Haridas Pandit, and step by step, then he's explaining about the priest, describing the glories of Haridas Pandit, the glories of the priests in Vrindavan, the priest of Govindaji in Vrindavan, and giving glories of so many devotees, and absolutely selflessly, then coming to explain how he came to write Chaitanya Caritamrita by the instruction, request, desire of these senior devotees. And then this was finally confirmed when he came to Madana Mohanji, and a garland fell from the deity. And then, if I remember rightly, may have been Govindaji, Okay, somebody, Seva Devi Dasi, do your quick check. Was it the garland that fell from Govinda? Or garland
Madan Mohan Maharaj.
It was Madan Mohan, yes, I was thinking that at first, and then I had my doubts. So thank you for that confirmation. It was Madan Mohanji, the garland fell, and everyone chanted, Hari, Hari, and the priest gave that garland to Krishnadas Kaviraj. And remember, he was in a ripe old age, 90 or 90 plus. So any of us complaining about, oh, age is coming, oh, we're getting old. Well, Krishnadas Kaviraj at 90, he gave Chaitanya Caritamrita, the highest scripture ever to see the light of day. But his praise, perfect praise of others, was of other devotees, was just so beautiful to hear. And I really would have to have it in front of me to read it again, but he also, in that section, he's mentioning about the qualities of these devotees. And one of them was one of the devotees, who I better not guess the name because I don't remember clearly, one of the devotees did not see the faults in any Vaishnavas, even though everybody has fault in this world. There's some little description, like everyone's in this world, so there is fault everywhere. It's the ocean of fault. But he did not see any fault or recognize any fault in a Vaishnava, only saw their Vaishnava characteristics. And the way that Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj is expressing all this with this pure unenviousness, opposite of enviousness, pure unenviousness, pure glorification. And this was very nourishing. I mean, of course, everything is nourishing, but just wonderful to share his mood. And then we were hearing from Srila Gurudev about Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, his preaching in the world. So this was something separate. Since I came back here to Villa Govinda, shows how short a memory we have. Sorry about that for the exact source that we got it from. But we do read in the morning and in the evening, and we're reading things in the day when we're trying to research things. So kindly excuse. But Srila, we were listening. Yeah, we were listening to the audio. We were listening to Gurudev speaking, glorifying Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and how this is all in connection with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, starting alone, then starting from one Ultadingi junction road, maybe one Ultadingi lane in Calcutta, and then describing that very simple accommodation, and then getting a rented house, then expanding, and then Srila Gurudev then coming to extend the glorification of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and the devotees who are with that one voice, spreading Krishna consciousness around the world. And such wonderful glorification of Srila Gurudev, of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, of Srila Guru Maharaj, and of Srila Prabhupada. It was just fitted, like the same mood we'd heard from Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj. We're hearing that mood from Srila Gurudev, the fully non-envious mood, the fully glorification mood of the Vaishnavata, the Vaishnava qualities, of course, of these super great souls. Hare Krishna. So this also from the reading of Chaitanya Caritamrita, this was the idea that was in my mind to share a little bit about glorifying devotees and not seeing their faults. And I know that description is given to Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, that his nature was like that. But in this case, it was a different personality that Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj was referring to. But this is the nature of the Vaishnavas. They don't want to see the faults. They don't notice those faults. They notice the spiritual, devotional aspect. Anyway, beautiful things. And Here we are with our beautiful family. We've got Mathura Basini Devi Dasi with us also, hiding on Facebook. She's on Facebook, and maybe others, because I can't see who's on Facebook unless somebody types a little message. She's sending her obeisances, dandavats to someone called Maharaj, and the dear devotees. This is all of you. She's sending Hare Krishna. Mathura Basini in South Africa. And returning to Italy from India, externally India, I have to say, how green is this area, at least of Italy? Green and brown, the brown part not being scorched earth, but being mud. Green and muddy. And it's raining, maybe right now, I don't know, but we had, the first day came back, clear blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, and then rain. So all the vegetation. Munindra Mohan Prabhu pointed out yesterday, the vegetation is confused. He said the winter flowers and the spring flowers, they're blooming at the same time. He said, they're all confused, just like us. What season is it? So anyhow, here we are, and we can pass the microphone. Paramananda Prabhu sat very quietly all the way through yesterday, the Zoom with Brazil, and I was wanting to come, Paramananda Prabhu, to ask you to share a few things. But 1 hour sometimes passes by like the blink of an eye. And we had a lively, happy Zoom with the devotees, but at the end I felt, oh no, we didn't get that opportunity for Paramananda Prabhu to share something. So Paramananda Prabhu, please do share. We are here with you happily, and we're practically in Govinda farm, means practically in Thailand, because the consciousness of the devotees, that common consciousness when we have that gathering, the gathering of devotees in Thailand is so sweet. The gathering of devotees we had in India is so sweet. The gathering of devotees here in Villa Govinda is so sweet. So we are feeling that common mood in each place. Prabhu.
Raj. Well, I wasn't ready yesterday, Maharaj. The Lila Moy was very generous, so he shared what he got in India with all of us. I was quite sick last night.
Was that what he shared?
Apparently.
Oh no, Lila Moy, you're meant to share good things.
No, devotees, they share everything. It doesn't matter. Such is their nature.
No restriction.
No restriction. Shouldn't be. But all good. All good.
Well, I have something I would share with you. This is one good, so bad.
Yes.
One good devotee shared this.
Caritамritam.
Yeah, Caritамrita. Almost Caritамrita. It's almost, sweet talks. But maybe it's to have sweet talks.
It preserves your throat, keeps it quite nourished. That means it is Caritамritam in a different way. But I see that Kumkum Didi is being quite fired up about the recent readings of Chaitanya Caritamrita, which is quite inspiring to see, because she's been around for a while and she's been reading it for a while, probably read it several times over and over again, and still very much inspired by what she's hearing. And that chapter is also quite astonishing to me when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes the history, and he feels necessity to say so, because otherwise it will be very audacious endeavor on his side. So he needs to make it very clear it wasn't his idea. let's just say. At that time, Chaitanya Bhagavat was the prominent scripture describing Mahaprabhu's Leela, composed by Vrindavan Das. And this is actually, that was Haridas Pandit who was the main reader of that scripture. It is described, I think it's in Bhakti Ratnakar, how the Vaishnavas would gather at the Govinda temple, where he was the chief priest. And he would be reading Chaitanya Bhagavat to all the gathered Vaishnavas. And the comparison was that of a moon and the stars. The Vaishnavas were the stars and he was the moon. Shining moon, soothing rays. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who was a direct disciple of Raghunath Das Goswami. Srila Guru Maharaj in his Bhaktivinoda Viraha Dasikam described his position as the one who expanded what came through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami. He relished that to such depth that it's expanded in infinite ways. And that's what it was inherited by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And everyone knew, all the Vaishnavas knew what he is carrying, what he's got from that lineage, Sarup Damodar Raghunath and Krishnadas Kaviraj. And considering that Vrindavan Das, he was a Parshad of Nityananda, described as one of the close associates of Balaram. So there's a very particular mood of Vrindavan Das Thakur and Chaitanya Bhagavat. But devotees hankered for more. That internal sentiment of Mahaprabhu wasn't fully revealed, and for a reason. It wasn't that he wasn't qualified to do that. No, a different mood. So they all asked Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, please, you do something. You compose a book describing Mahaprabhu, but we know it's going to come with the taste of Madhurya Ras. And that's what came through. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he gathered blessings from everyone. And he was hesitating. Like he himself was saying that he was already old, advanced age, and so many difficulties, bodily difficulties, which is another astonishing thing to observe in the Vaishnava pastimes, and being a resident of the upper world. So he gathered those blessings. Still, he wasn't sure if he is up to the job. But the pressure, the build-up of the pressure was such that there was no other choice for him but to go and pray to Madan Gopal, Madan Mohan, to have a final verdict, final stamp, final approval from Krishna himself. And then that happened. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami got that confirmation, internal confirmation, which was expressed. I mean, he can understand that. One may say, oh, just the garland fell. The thread was weak. Many different reasons could have been about the garland falling from the deity. But Vaishnava of that caliber can understand the meaning of that, the different indications from the Lord. So he took it as that final confirmation, final sign. And then he started writing Chaitanya Caritamrita. And you can see how, quite often, not knowing if he will make it till the end of the book, he will give a short synopsis, or so-called seed mantras, the Sanskrit verse in the beginning of each chapter that would encapsulate what is to come. There was reason for that, because that could have been deciphered by someone of, again, a high caliber, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, for example, if he was to leave the world. It could have been finished by a Vaishnava later on. And anyhow, it all came through by the grace of the Lord. And we are so fortunate that, again, we have that opportunity to every day read it. And what did Guru Maharaj said about it? Chaitanya Caritamrta, the glorification to Chaitanya Caritamrta.
The highest scripture ever to see the light of day.
I mean,
if all other texts are destroyed in some great catastrophe and only Chaitanya Caritamrita remains, nothing will be lost. Everything is there.
True. And it's exclusively Madhurya Rasa scripture. We were remembering yesterday, Maharaj was quoting the verse, Matala Harijana Kirtanaranga, Pujal Ragapata Gaurava Banga. We were remembering the mood. I think it was Gurudev who was quoting that. We were playing the recording.
That's right.
Explaining what is the meaning and saying that this is the mood that was said by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Srila Guru Maharaj said, my Guru preached exclusively about Madhurya Ras. But in doing so, his main focus, 90%, he said, was to give some understanding to people what is not Madhurya Rasa, so that they can understand, differentiate what is and what is not. And then, in the words of Saraswati Thakur, I spent gallons of blood doing that. It was that important. So this is Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita. And it came through Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and widely distributed by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's efforts. Interestingly, we were discussing that verse yesterday. Interestingly, the verse actually came on the day, and you were just mentioning that. What was the rented place name? Of
One Ultadingi Lane or Ultadingi Road, perhaps, yeah. But Ultadingi.
That verse was a part of the composition, a short poem composed by Saraswati Thakur, dedicated to that very event when the deities were moving from that rented property to a permanent location in Bagh Bazar, Gaudiya Math. And that first version of that, Matala Harijana Vishaya Range, was traced by Saraswati Thakur, basically saying that Vishaya Range, whatever Vishaya, all those riches of the world, all the luxuries of the world are handled by us, but handled in such a way that it is exclusively dedicated to the service of the Lord, as it should be. It's meant for that. So Saraswati Thakur is explaining that we are moving to this big place, luxury place from this rented place, and so much wealth is coming to us by the grace of the Lord. But it is to use properly. And then later on, that verse was changed by Srila Gurudev with the approval of Srila Guru Maharaj to avoid misunderstanding. And even though it was changed, still there are so many misunderstandings about it, which is quite surprising. But fortunately, by the grace of Guru Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj, the understanding is very clear to us. Again, it is our fortune. So we are to keep the feet, and that's what expressed by Saraswati Thakur in his advice. He's saying we're not anything but the carriers of the shoes of the high Vaishnavas who are initiated in the month of Kirtanya Sadahari, who always engage in that kind of practice, engaged in bhajan, engaged in permanent worship, constant worship to the Lord. That is our position. So putting their shoes on our head, we're happily carrying that and worshiping their mood and aspiring and hoping to get some kind of a service connection with that upper world. And that's where our hope lies. So in a similar way, thinking about a scripture like Chaitanya Caritamrita, it's a blessing. And how did it come upon us? We do not know. But we are extremely fortunate that it is actually a possibility for us to not only read and hear Chaitanya Caritamrita, but to be able to understand it in the mood of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj, through their eyes, through their heart, we can get a proper understanding of those verses. And like we just remembered, if any other scripture disappears, everything is in there. It is in there. The essence of Srimad Bhagavatam is in there. The essence of all the Puranas, Itihasas, Upanishads, you name it, Agamas and other scriptures, they're all in Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita. Nothing is lacking there. Sometimes I'm just thinking, and I'm actually praying for that, not to get too familiar, because the tendency is always there. You look at Chaitanya Caritamrita on your table, so I can open it anytime. And that's already not a good mood. I'm speaking of myself. Anyhow, I'm not going to go in that direction. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he concludes one of the chapters with this beautiful verse, where he is saying, always constantly hear and chant the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described in Chaitanya Caritamrita. Always think about them, contemplate about them. That is my prayer to you.
And Srila Devi Dasi, she's given us an article or a bit of a transcript. There, it's on the gaudiya-darshan.com, one of the Matt's websites, and everyone can follow that link and read it fully. But in the very last paragraph, Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj is saying, I heard from Srila Guru Maharaj, means Bhakti Rakak, Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. I heard from Srila Guru Maharaj, then quote, one who knows Chaitanya Caritamrita knows everything. If we have Chaitanya Caritamrita, but all other books disappear from this world, then there is no loss. This one book, and only this book, Chaitanya Caritamrita, can give us everything. Hare Krishna. And we're in a gathering, we're here in a gathering, and if we were seated in the temple room, then we'd be happily reading from Chaitanya Caritamrita. And so, if I may, I'll take the liberty to read, perhaps not the Bengali, or maybe sometimes we have to read the Bengali, it's just too irresistible, but to just read this part in chapter number 8, this later part, where Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj is giving so much praise and then capping it all off with, this is how this Chaitanya Caritamrita, this is how I'm writing this. So I'll just read the English part of it. And by the way, Abhishek Prabhu, also Abhi, another one of the Abhis, Abhishek in India is asking, when are you coming to Mayapur, Maharaj? Wait and see is my answer, because I don't know. But thank you for the invitation or the welcome. All right, so Chaitanya Caritamrita, Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita ki jai, and Jai Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Now, by the way, it's almost a shame to start later on in the chapter, because the whole chapter is glorification and super glorification of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, which Paramananda Prabhu was mentioning, was the scripture that the Vaishnavas would read, especially until the Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita was manifested. And so he's giving super glorification of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat and of its author, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Again, absolutely beautiful glorification and recognition. And then anyway, because we can't read the whole Chaitanya Caritamrita while we're here online within our time limit, I'm starting text 46 onwards. So Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj is saying, in Bengali, he's saying, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are unlimited and unfathomable. Therefore, in describing all those pastimes, the book, that time known as Sri Chaitanya Mongol, later became known as Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita, because there was another book with that same name. So the name was changed to save confusion. So in describing all those unlimited and unfathomable pastimes, the book Chaitanya Mongol, Chaitanya Bhagavat, became voluminous, became very big. He, Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author, saw them to be so extensive that he later felt that some had not been properly described. He ecstatically described the pastimes of Lord Nityananda, by the way, which is a super joy to read. Again, glorification, the joy of glorification. It's, anyway, just another kind of joy. He ecstatically described the pastimes of Lord Nityananda, but the later pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained untold. The devotees of Vrindavan were all very anxious to hear those pastimes. In Vrindavan, in a great place of pilgrimage underneath the desire trees, is a golden throne bedecked with jewels. On that throne sits the son of Nanda Maharaj, Sri Govinda Dev. Krishna is the son of Nanda Maharaj, Nanda and Jashoda. On that throne sits the son of Nanda Maharaj, Sri Govinda Dev, the transcendental Cupid. Varieties of majestic service are rendered to Govinda there. His garments, ornaments, and paraphernalia are all transcendental. In that temple of Govindaji, thousands of servitors always render service to the Lord in devotion. Even with thousands of mouths, one could not describe this service. In that temple, the chief servitor was Sri Haridas Pandit. His qualities and fame are known all over the world. He was gentle, tolerant, peaceful, magnanimous, grave, sweet in his words, and very sober in his endeavors. But I will read you that verse in Bengali. Sushila, Sahishnu, Shanta, Vadanya, Gambhira, Madhura Vachana, Madhura Cheshta, Mahadhira. It's so beautiful. He was respectful to everyone and worked for the benefit of all. Diplomacy, envy, and jealousy were unknown to his heart. The 50 qualities of Lord Krishna were all present in his body. And then he makes a quote from the scripture. So this is a Sanskrit quote translated. In one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifested. However, one who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualities. Sorry, I've just my thing. Has no good qualifications because he is engaged in mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. So that was a Sanskrit quote. And then back to the Bengali, Pandit Gosaira Shishya Ananta Acharya, Krishna Prema Mayatanu Udara Sava Aja. So Anantaracharya was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. Pandit Gotsaira Shishya Ananta Acharya. Anantaracharya was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. His body was always absorbed in love of Godhead. He was magnanimous and advanced in all respects. Anantaracharya was a reservoir of all good qualities. No one can estimate how great he was. Pandit Haridas was his beloved disciple. Pandit Haridas had great faith in Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Therefore, he took great satisfaction in knowing about their pastimes and qualities. He always accepted the good qualities of Vaishnavas, and never found fault in them. He engaged his heart and soul only to satisfy the Vaishnavas. He always heard the reading of Sri Chaitanya Mongol, now Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, and all the other Vaishnavas used to hear it by his grace. Like the full moon, he illuminated the entire assembly of Vaishnavas by speaking Sri Chaitanya Mongol, and by the nectar of his qualities, he increased their transcendental bliss. By his mercy, he ordered me to write about the last pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Govinda Gosai, the priest engaged in the service of Lord Govinda in Vrindavan, was a disciple of Kashishvar Gosai. There was no servant more dear to the Govinda deity. And remember, there were thousands of servitors. And Sri Jadavacharya Gosai, a constant associate of Srila Rupa Goswami, was also very enthusiastic in hearing and chanting about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Bhurgava Gosai, a disciple of Pandit Gosai, was also engaged in topics regarding Lord Chaitanya, knowing nothing else. Among his disciples were Chaitanya Das, who was a priest of the Govinda deity, as well as Mukundananda Chakravarti and the great devotee Krishnadas. Among the disciples of Anantaracharya was Shivananda Chakravarti, in whose heart Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda constantly dwelled. In Vrindavan, there were also many other great devotees, all of whom desired to hear the last pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Don't worry if there are just too many names and you can't catch them all. It is auspicious, as Paramananda Prabhu pointed out. Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj just says, keep on hearing Chaitanya Caritamrita. Don't mind if you understand everything or nothing, just keep on hearing. And this is all part of the glorious qualities of Chaitanya Caritamrita, this glorification of the Vaishnavas, hearing their names, bringing great joy to the devotees. So anyhow, next verse, we're up to text 72, it's not so far to go. By their mercy that been describing, all these devotees ordered me to write of the last pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because of their order only, although I am shameless, I have attempted to write Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Having received the order of the Vaishnavas, but being anxious within my heart, I went to the temple of Madana Mohan in Vrindavan to ask his permission. So having received the order of the Vaishnavas, but being anxious within my heart, I went to the temple of Madana Mohan in Vrindavan to ask his permission also. When I visited the temple of Madana Mohan, the priest Gosai Das was serving the feet of the Lord, and I also prayed at the Lord's lotus feet. When I prayed to the Lord for permission, a garland from his neck immediately slipped down. Then Sabha Vaishnava Gana Haridvani Dila Gosai Dasa Ani Mala Mora Gole Dila. As soon as this happened, the Vaishnavas standing there all loudly chanted Hari Bol, and the priest Gosai Das brought me the garland and put it around my neck. Then Agyamalapaya Amara Hoila Ananda Tahani Karinu E Grantira Aramba. So as soon as this happened, that the garland fell down, everyone chanted Hari, and the priest put it around my neck. As soon as this happened, the Vaishnavas standing there all loudly chanted Hari Bol. Oh, this is, okay, getting the same verse again. And the priest, Gosaidas, brought me the garland and put it around my neck. Then I was greatly pleased to have the garland signifying the order of the Lord. And then and there I commenced to write the book. To write this book. Then Grantha, this book, Lekaya. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Caritamrta is not my writing, but it is the dictation of Sri Madana Mohan. My writing is like the repetition of a parrot. As a wooden doll is made to dance by a magician, I write as Madana Gopal orders me to do so. I accept as my family deity Madana Mohan, whose worshippers are Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami. I took permission from Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur by praying at his lotus feet, and upon receiving his order, I have attempted to write this auspicious literature. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is the authorized writer of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Without his mercy, therefore, one cannot describe these pastimes. Then, Murka, Nicha, Kshudra Mui, Vishaya Lalasa, Vaishnavagya Bole Kori, Etaka Sahasa. I am foolish, low-born, and insignificant. I always desire material enjoyment. Yet, by the order of the Vaishnavas, I am greatly enthusiastic to write this transcendental literature. Then Sri Rupa Raghunatha Charanera, Bala, this strength of Sri Rupa Raghunatha Charanera, Bala, Jara Smrite Siddha Hoya Vanchita Sakala. The lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami are my source of strength. Remembering their lotus feet can fulfill all one's desires. And then the last verse today, last verse of the chapter, you can guess it. Sri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Asha Chaitanya Caritamrita Kohe Krishnadasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita, following in their footsteps. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I couldn't resist but to read that section from Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita. And please, dear devotees, do make a note of this URL, the web address that Sevarupa has put in the chat box. It's gaudiyadarshan.com. And if you're on Facebook and don't see the URL, and just if you go to gaudiyadarshan.com, then just simply do a search there for life giving. So it's life-giving nectar. And it's the title has been given to this transcript of Srila Gurudev, talking about the importance of Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj and, well, his gift. The importance of Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj's gift, which is Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita. But maybe it's a bit much for me to read this as well just now, a lot of reading. I mean, I don't mind reading, but a long time for you hearing. Hare Krishna. Suyash Krishna Prabhu, you've joined us happily. Dana K. Dana K. Dana is treasure and K is Krishna. Must be so. Suyash Krishna, you turned on your video also. Hare Krishna from Mauritius, in Mauritius. But heart all together with us all in our assembly, our back to basics assembly. We can say it's not a country assembly, it's a planet Earth assembly. I don't know if the Zoom goes to the moon or other places, but at least planet Earth, we've got our assembly. I see you have a clock with a very clear dial behind you. This is what they're meant to be, these modern watches where you have to do all sorts of gyration and everything just so you can find the time and then look to find which dial to look at. May be promoted as very prestigious, but basically, as far as I know, a watch or a clock is meant to be a clear giver of the time. And Krishna Priya, Paramananda Prabhu's Krishna Priya Devi Dasi, she has very clear watch. And in Puri this time, Devananda Prabhu from London, he was sitting beside me, and he has a very clear watch. Like it's always on with big letters and everything. And then just after some time, I just came in my mind, but what time is his watch saying? And it was completely wrong time. It wasn't the time for India, and it wasn't the time for London, which is where it come from. So I'm not quite sure what his inner theory was. Perhaps he liked to do a little bit of mathematics whenever he looked at his watch to calculate the time. But it wasn't even a half hour out or 1 hour out. It was quite a different time. But it had a very clear face. So this is the important part. And the clock, Guru Maharaj is saying, the clock is indicating time. It is not time. A map is indicating a journey. It is not the journey. And he's using this as an example about the scriptures, about the guidance that's been given. The scriptures, they are indicating, but we must take that journey. It is not that the book is the journey. It's indicating. So all these things are indicators. And he used those examples of the clock is indicating time. And then Guru Maharaj, what I was hearing in the Guru Maharaj in his transcendental humor said, and the clock may be wrong also. So with Devananda Prabhu, we can be reminded about Srila Guru Maharaj and his analogies to help us understand things. Hare Krishna. Anyway, the clock is definitely a side issue. By the way, by the devotee's grace, my watch was also very clear. And it tells the right time, plus 2 minutes. Even though I know it's 2 minutes fast, it gets me places on time. Hare Krishna. Some tips for the devotees who want to be on time. Well, dear ones, as they say, I saw that Paramananda Prabhu was just called away too. Dear ones, as Munindra Mohan Prabhu says, because we are here in the Munindra Mohan Krishna Kanta Shantimoy and Madhurananda and Shyama Sundar Prabhu, who is not always able to be here, but we're in the ashram established and run until this day by these 5 pillars. And right now we can hear, it's 1 minute past 6 here, and we can hear that already the Mangalarti has begun just next door. So we'll go and join there. And Munindra Mohan Prabhu's expression, dear ones. So dear ones, all of the devotees. We'll conclude for today, but we must keep all of these beautiful things that we've heard from the devotees and shared from the scripture, shared everything from Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. We must keep all these things dear to our heart, and let us not just be a clock or a map. Let us all take the journey and come back home, because we will meet there soon by the grace of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. And how much will we remember and look back and say, remember when we used to do Zoom on planet Earth? But some recognition may come, because Guru Maharaj does say that, are we prepared that when we see Krishna, that, oh, Krishna there, everything, but that we see that Krishna is embracing someone we know, who we were thinking, well, they're not very qualified, but Krishna is embracing them, but he's ignoring me. Are we prepared for that? So that, of course, is showing us how we must be prepared for full self-surrender, no matter what comes to us. But at the same time, there's the implication there that we may recognize others when we are in that pure abode of Goloka Vrindavan. So perhaps we'll be sitting around one day and just say, we were on Zoom one day, you remember that? And now here we are in Goloka Vrindavan. Okay, we better go through in reality to the Mangalat. Jai, wonderful Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, wonderful Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rockok Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, wonderful Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, and wonderful Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai, our Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Bhaga ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita ki Jai, Jai Srila Krsnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki Jai, Jai Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai, Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai, and Sri Hari Nama Sankirtan ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda ki Jai, and Kumkum Devi Dasi ki Jai, all of yes, each of you individually ki Jai, and Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai Srila BR Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai. The final end.
So as soon as you have gone to Mangalati or maybe evening Aarti for some of you, wherever you may be, then do come back to that article, and I'll come back to that article that Sevarup linked. Very relevant. I kind of sped read it, but we'll give it proper attention. Please, you also make a note of that. So it is gaudiadarshan.com, and simply search for life-giving Nectar if you're on Facebook or on the recording and don't see the link. So life-giving Nectar. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Amra Aschi Govinda Govinda.